From Aspen, Colorado, and the fabulous Paragon Ballroom, Pool the Masters Way, with 3-time world champion and 4-time U.S. Open champion, Steve Mizerak. The Miz will give you inside tips to improve your game the Masters way. Pretty Boy Floyd, the world's greatest hustler, will discuss the art and magic of controlling the cue ball. And Ava Mataya, Pool's leading lady, will demonstrate the ease of 9-ball.
Hi, I'm Steve Mizerak. Many of you may have known me from a beer commercial that I've done a few years ago. Many of you may have seen me in your local pool establishment, or many of you may have seen me on television when I was just showing off. I'm going to take you through all aspects of the game of billiards, especially in the 2 main games that are played today. The 2 main games are 9-ball and straight pool. 9-ball is played today because it is quick, fast, and loose. In the 50s and the 60s and in the early 70s, the big game was straight pool. Straight pool is the true consummate of a pool player. Everybody can play straight pool. Not everybody can play 9-ball. Let me show you how to start the game of straight pool. Then run you through the rack, run you through position play, run you through some strategies that you may not know. Now, one of the most important factors of the game of straight pool is the opening break, because it's the only game that you can play without getting a shot. So what you have to do is be very careful. As the referee racks the balls, the 5 balls in the back row must be frozen. If they're not frozen, balls may scatter any place. This is one important factor you have to remember when you break. Now, to determine the break, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can lag. That's by shooting the cue ball down the rail and back in. The closest to the bottom rail gets their choice. Or you can flip. Or if one player has a decided advantage over the other, it's very simple. He should break. Now, let me show you what a good break may look like. First of all, what you do is you take your hand. You position it on the diamond right here. Take the cue ball, aim it straight up the rail, straight towards the other diamond. And what you have to do is hit approximately 1/2 of this end ball right here, which is the 3-ball. Come to this diamond, over to this diamond, to this rail, and right here. Okay. Hopefully, if the balls are racked properly, the 11 will go to the side rail and back in. The 3 will go to the bottom rail and back up. And these balls will open to a very minimum spread. Let's see what happens. Okay, that is a very, very good break in straight pool. Okay, the cue ball is frozen to the rail. The cue ball has to go along green to make the 3-ball go into this corner. Usually, the 3-ball doesn't come up this high. Usually, it winds up here. Now, if the 3-ball was here and the cue ball wound up here, the only shot that my opponent would have would be the 7-ball in the corner pocket. And I'd like to see him shoot that when I'm playing against him. In straight pool, what basically distinguishes the caliber of play is how many racks you run. It is very important to run a large run, 30, 40, 50, okay? A large run in a pro game could be considered 100. Now, at the beginning of the table, when all the balls are on the table, the amateur might pick 1 or maybe 2 balls ahead, which is a very good thing to do because you will not get confused. The intermediate player may pick 3 or 4 balls ahead. The pro player may pick all the balls ahead, but leave himself an alternative shot. This is the key, the alternative shot. If he doesn't get into good position for the shot he's shooting, he has an alternative shot he can shoot. But the main ingredient in straight pool, as far as running racks are concerned, are the last 4 or 5 balls on the table. Everybody should think of making each ball in each pocket, the intermediate, the beginner, and the pro. Now, we have a situation on the table here where we have 5 balls plus a break ball. Now, I have 2 balls here, the 3 and the 12. We can shoot the 3 ball in this pocket. We can shoot the 12 in that pocket. If you're left-handed, you shoot the 3 ball. If you're right-handed, you shoot the 12 ball. Whether you're right-handed or left-handed, as far as the other balls are concerned, it doesn't matter. When I say shoot the 3 ball for a left-hander, we don't have to stretch as far, as I'm left-handed, and I would pick the 3 ball for my break ball. Now, how am I going to run these balls? I'm going to try to do it in this fashion. I'm going to try to shoot the 4 in the side, draw back here for the 15, shoot the 15 in the corner, pull my cue ball right about here for the 2 ball on this side, float down here for the 5 in this side, make the 12 ball in the corner, make 1 rail and come back up here and make the 3 ball in the corner pocket and break all the balls open again. Let's see if I can do it. As you noticed, sometimes I used high English, sometimes I used low English. It all depends the position of the cue ball in relationship to the ball you're shooting at. That is what we call a perfect run out when 4 or 5 balls are left on the table. Okay, this is what we call a perfect break in straight pool. You saw how I ran the other balls? This is the position of the cue ball in relationship to the 3. Now, when the 3 and the cue ball wind up almost straight on, just like this, okay, you have to make a decision in your mind on how to shoot the cue ball into the rack, whether you draw it over into the rack or whether you follow it over into the rack. When the cue ball is on this angle here, you always follow it into the rack to make sure you have an action cue ball going through the rack. When the cue ball is on this side of the line, you should normally draw your cue ball over and draw out the cue ball to about this position right here so you can have a next shot. Let me see if I can demonstrate. That's one way of breaking the balls and shooting the next shot, which would be the 12, and you run another rack. This is all repetitious. When you run balls, the whole key is the break shot, and the whole key is getting a shot after the break shot. The main key after the break shot is getting 1 shot so that you can get into the balls. I did get 1 shot, which was the 12 ball that I made in here. Now, what you have to do is concentrate on running the rest of the rack. This is my only problem right here. I have balls that are close together. What we want to do is separate these balls as quick as possible so that each ball can go in any pocket you would pick. Now I'm going to start this rack by pocketing the 10, shooting the 7, coming off this rail, and shooting the 5 in this corner pocket and trying to break open all the rest of the balls. After I break open the rest of the balls, then I survey the table again to see if I have any more problems. If there are no problems, the game is easy. Pick them off until you have the last 4 or 5, and then think 4 or 5 balls ahead. Let's see if I can do that. I'll try to talk you through the whole rack and see what happens. 10 in the corner pocket. 7 in the corner. Cue ball off the rail. Make the 5. Now is the time to survey the table. See if any balls are close together. See if any balls are touching. See if some are by the rail. I see a wide open table, but I don't see a break shot here. We'll get into the break shot positioning a little bit later. My object here is to run these balls. Now, remember I said an alternative shot. Suppose I was playing position on the 6 and wound up here. I could shoot the 4 in the side. That would be my alternative shot. You have to make sure that you have an alternative shot when you're playing the game of straight pool. Now, my major problem here is the break ball. I don't have a break ball right here, but what I'm going to try to do, is use the 15 ball for the side pocket and use what we call a side pocket break. I'm going to leave the 9 just before the 15. It'll be the last shot I will shoot. Now, what I have to concentrate on is getting rid of the 11 ball, the 4 ball, and the 2, and getting straight in on the 9. The object here is to shoot the 13 in the corner, come up right in between the 4 and the 11, and stopping my cue ball right in this general area right here, so that I could shoot the 4 in the corner, or the 11 in the corner, or the 2 in the corner. Remember what I said before about alternative shots? Now, cue ball is in perfect position. Shoot the 11 in the corner, 4 in the side, follow down, shoot the 2 in this side, and make your cue ball go 3 cushions. Wind up right about here for the 9 ball in the corner. That's what we call a perfect run out to your break ball. The cue ball is positioned perfectly for the 15 to make the 15 in the side and to go into the rack. It's an easy way how to play. Now in this segment, basically what I'm going to try to show you are different ways on how to play safe. This is very important because it can determine whether you win or lose the game. In this instance, my cue ball is behind the 6, a little bit over towards the 11. What I'm going to try to do is play safe off the 11, hit the 11 to the side rail, make it come out, and stick the cue ball behind the 6. See what happens. That is what we call a perfect safe. You might say, well, why is it called a perfect safe? Because if my opponent positions me back here off this rail, I have the 9 in the corner. If he positions me here, I have the 11 in the corner. If he comes over here, I might shoot the 7 in that corner. So this safety right here is very difficult for an opponent to get out of. You might say, well, what should I do? Well, if it was two advanced players playing, two tournament players playing, what the tournament player would do is take what we call an intentional foul by pushing the ball right there. Now, you might say, well, why should I lose 1 point? The reason why I should lose 1 point is because sometimes you might lose the whole game. This time, my opponent is going to try to leave me, or it's my shot this time. What I do is I take an intentional shot and put him right here. Now, we both have -1. But again, he's in a bad position because he has no place to play safe. Now, what I would do, if it was my shot, instead of leaving the cue ball right about here, I would try to leave the cue ball over here and make sure that he has the hardest shot possible for his next shot on the table. I hit the edge of the 6. Now that could be considered the best alternative that I had. My opponent could shoot the 9 in the corner, but it's a tough shot. He can shoot the 7 in the corner, but it's a tough shot. It's a way to go and a way to protect yourself so that you're sure of shooting again in your game. Because with a bad safety shot, you could lose the game. Here's a type of break shot nobody wants. What should you do? Should you shoot the 9 in and play safe? Should you shoot the 9 in and take a chance in coming up to break them open? Let me see if I can take a chance. Uh-oh. I didn't break them open. What happened? What happens next? I can always play safe. Remember, safety is a big factor in this game, and I can't emphasize enough on the aspect of safety play. Now, I don't have a shot. What do? Play off the edge of the 4 ball? Okay. And put my opponent back in the rack. But basically what I did, I sealed my own fate. Because my opponent can shoot the edge of the 4 ball, and shoot this cue ball down into the corner pocket area, just like that. Now I have no shot. So what should you do? You have to survey the rack. And in order for me to survey the rack, I have to come down, look over the rack into all positions. It just so happens that I have been lucky enough to survey the rack and see a dead 3 ball in this corner pocket. I survey the rack, get down here, see if I can make the 3 ball, and I think I can. What I have to do, hit the 15 into the area of the 5, it'll carry them off, hit the 2, hit the 3, and make the 3 ball go into this pocket. This is what we call taking a chance. Anytime you play a combination, you take a chance. Let's see if I can make it. I made it. Those are the chances that I love to take. Now I could possibly win the game. Now, one of the most popular games that is played today is a game called 9-ball. You make all balls in numerical order and leaving the 9 for last, unless you can make a combination, kiss, or a billiard shot. It is important in 9-ball to have all balls racked tightly together so that if the cue ball goes into the 1, the 2 end balls behind the cue ball will also go into the 9. This gives you a chance to win the game without your opponent even shooting. Or if your opponent is breaking and the balls are loose, such as like this, gives your opponent a chance to make some of these end balls in this corner, and you might not even shoot. So make sure all the balls are froze. Check the rack. It is very important. Voila, a perfect rack. Now we've shown how the balls are supposed to be racked. Make sure they're all tight together. Now let's look at the position of the cue ball. Most of the pros break from the side, either this side or this side. Now, my theory is breaking them from the right side. I am left-handed. Right-handed players could break them on this side. I hit the one ball straight on into this position. Don't hit the one ball on this side, okay? Go straight into the one ball this way. That gives a chance for the end balls to go, and it gives a chance for the balls to come off the rail and move the 9. It's a very important shot. It's one that you have to be consistent on. You have to make sure you don't scratch in the side pocket. Make sure you hit the one ball flush, bring it back up here, somewhere in the middle of the table. If you get kicked by another ball, it's an unfortunate situation. Now, everybody thinks that some guys break better than others. They don't. They cross their fingers more than others. It's a luck shot. If you make one ball, if you make two balls, you're crossing both fingers. If you don't make any balls, it's not your lucky day. Let's see what happens as I hit the 1. I made one ball, but I didn't get position on the 1. In 9 ball, especially in tournament play, we have an option, what they call one-shot push-out. We can push our cue ball into a position where your opponent has a very tough shot. If your opponent likes the shot, he can shoot the shot. If he doesn't like it, it's your turn. One thing I forgot to mention, the numerical order of the balls. It doesn't matter how they're racked up, just as long as the 1 is in the front and the 9 is in the middle of the triangle. We're going to try another break. This time we'll move the cue ball over to the side rail. Again, hit the 1 ball straight on. Don't hit the 1 ball as if the cue ball is coming to it this way. 1 ball straight on. Let's see what happens. Notice one thing. My cue ball went to the side rail and down. It wasn't a good break. Therefore, I didn't make any balls. Now, it's my opponent's shot, and more than likely, I will lose this game. Now, you saw what happened when I broke from the side, okay? I lost cue ball control, and I didn't make any balls. I broke from here. I had great cue ball control and made a ball. Now let's move the cue ball towards the center of the table, which should give me more cue ball control and possibly give me more action on the 2 end balls. Notice, I made a ball, and I almost got a shot on the 1. Here's where your luck factor comes in. If you get a shot on the 1 after the break, you'll win the game, hopefully. If you don't get a shot, the game is up in the air. Who knows who's going to win? Now, this is not my comfortable position for breaking the balls. My comfortable position is on this side. But for right-handers, the comfortable position is right here. They do the same thing on this side. They hit the 1 directly on and try to stop your cue ball in the middle of the table. Now that's what we call a perfect break. I made 3 balls in 1 shot. I've got a good shot on the 1, and it looks like curtains for my opponent. Now the 5th breaking position. Again, not my comfortable position because I am left-handed. For a right-hander, This is a good place to break from. Let's see what happens this time. I made a ball, got shape on the 1, and again, it should be curtains for my opponent. So breaking in different places all along the line is something that you should remember. If you don't make a ball from one spot, keep on moving it and try to move it where you do find a spot for you to break the balls and make one. This is one of the most important factors in playing the game with 9-ball. As you could tell, I broke the balls one more time. The 2-ball is in the way of the 1. It's my opponent's shot because I didn't make a ball. He has the option of pushing out, which means he can take his cue, push the cue ball or shoot the cue ball any place on the table without penalty. This is the way the pros play. The novices or the intermediates may play a little different. But the pros would say, put the cue ball right here. And it'd be up to the opponent to come and see whether he wants the shot or let him shoot the ball. What he'll do is this. He'll shoot the cue ball over here. And he'll say push out. Now, I can hit the 1, but I can't make the 1. So what I'll try to do is play safe. It's a very tough shot. So I'm going to take the 1 and try to bank the 1 down this end of the table so that my opponent can't hit the 1. But in this case, I didn't do that, and my opponent has the 1 straight in. A very difficult shot because it has long green. As chances are, I may lose this game because I didn't play a good safety. I wanted the 1-ball to come over here so that if the 1-ball came into this position, my opponent would have to kick off the side rail and try to hit the 1-ball, because if he doesn't hit the 1-ball, I have cue ball in hand. I can move it any place on the table I want. And naturally, I'm going to place it right about here for a very simple, easy shot. Let's see what happens if I try to go into hitting the 1-ball. I made a great shot. I hit the 1-ball, the 1-ball came off the side rail, and I snookered my opponent. Now, my opponent cannot hit the 1. He can't go around the 7. He can't bank off the side rail. He has a tough shot. If he doesn't hit the 1, it looks like I may win the game. Let's see what happens here. He hit the 1, but he got lucky again. He left me safe. What do? I try to do the same thing he just did, but only my shot is a little tougher. I'm close to the 8. The 5 is blocking the upper bank. I don't know what to do. And there are certain situations that may come up where even the pros don't know what to do. Some of them may have to close their eyes and try to rely on luck. But most of the time, the pros know what they're doing. So if you want to take a lesson, make sure you get it from a pro. Now, my opponent has just broken the balls wide open. He hasn't made a ball. It's my turn to shoot. I look over the situation. I can make the 1-ball on the side, follow down here for the 2. But wait a minute. Look what happened. He left me a pretty good combination. So what I can do is shoot the 1 in the side, stop about here, and shoot the 9-ball and get the game over with in a hurry. This is what I plan to do. And it's easy as 1, 2, and 9. It's a simple game. All you have to do is make the 9. Make it any way you can, just as long as you hit the legal ball first, which is the lowest numbered ball on the table. Another situation that may come up. I broke. I won the last game. This time I made the 1 ball on the break. I'm in perfect position to make the 2 in the side, draw my cue ball back right about here, shoot the 3 in the corner, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and run out. But again, anything can happen when you're running out the table. So in this case, what I'm going to do is shoot the 2 in the side. And instead of shooting the 3 in the upper corner, we have what you would call a perfect billiard, where we hit the 3 first and make the 9 in the side. Game over again. Notice how quick these games can go. That's why it's the #1 game for television. Everybody likes it because it's fast and loose. Now, strategy. Strategy is a very important part in the game of 9-ball. 9-ball usually is played nice and slow, thinking all the time. The men are usually 1, 2 games ahead of the ladies at all times because we play side by side in major tournaments. I like to bring out Pool's leading lady, Eva Mataya, and try to find out what her strategy is about playing the game of 9-ball. What do you think, Eva?
Well, I think the best thing you can do when you're playing 9-ball is make things as easy as possible on yourself. Staying on the right side of the ball and hopefully shooting all easy shots.
Eva's going to demonstrate how easy it is to run a rack of 9-ball.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Steve.
Notice the stroke. Notice how she thinks at all times. She does things so methodically. She thinks over every shot as she's thinking over the 3-ball. Stop position for the 4. It's a very easy game when you play the game as easy as Pool's leading lady, Eva Mataya. The girls, when they come out, usually most of them stop, think, relax, go back to the table, powder up. Here you see the game of 9-ball, a frame of 9-ball run very easily, very smooth, as Eva is demonstrating. Sometimes the game of 9-ball lasts a little bit longer. This one went very quick. You're done already.
All done. What do you think, Steve?
See how easy the game of 9-ball can be? Maybe one of you ladies who are watching could play the game as easy as Eva. When you're in a hot 9-ball game and you're faced with a tough situation, you don't know what to do. You could play safe or you could go for the run out. I'd like to bring out Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
What would you do in this situation? Would you go for the run out or would you play safe?
Well, as you can clearly see here, Steve, if I was going to go for the run out, and I see a lot of amateurs and beginners as well, they always want to go for the shot. They never want to play safe. Now, if I was to try to elevate the butt of my cue and make that 7-ball in the corner and draw all the way back for this 8-ball, it's a very difficult shot.
Especially for amateurs.
Absolutely. And if I miss the 7-ball, I'm in danger of losing this particular game. So what I would like to do here is play an offensive shot, go for the win, but at the same time, play a defensive shot. In case I miss the 7, my opponent has nothing to shoot at. So this is what I would do in this particular situation. I would bank the 7-ball, cross corners.
Over in this pocket?
That's right, and bring my cue ball straight up the table, position for the 8. Now, if I miss the bank, I'm not going to give away the game. The 7-ball is going to lay back down here on the end rail. The cue ball is going to be back here. Now I've left my opponent in a very tough situation. I'll demonstrate.
But he has to make sure that the 7 hits in between the diamond or the pocket.
Now, as you can clearly see, I missed the 7-ball. Had I had made that 7-ball, I was in excellent position to win this game. But I also played a defensive shot. Take a look at where the 7-ball is now, and take a look at where the cue ball is. my opponent's not going to go far from this particular situation.
Okay, that was one way of playing a strategy move in the game of 9-ball. Now let's see a nice run out where the average player or the recreational player will be able to do.
Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see the beginners as well as the amateurs make is when the balls are open and they have an open shot and a chance to win a game, they tend to shoot one shot at a time and hope that they get position for the next ball. This is what the professionals would do. They would look at these layout of balls and say to themselves, I want to play the 5 there, I want to play the 6 in the same corner, draw my ball back out towards the center, I have an easy shot on the 7 in the side, come right over for the 8 in the side and the 9 in the side. Thinking ahead, 3, 4 shots. That's the big difference between a professional and the amateurs.
One thing that the amateurs tend to forget, they can make the 5, they can make the 6, make the 7, or make the 8. But you only get paid if you make the 9.
That's true. The 9 ball's the money ball. The rest of them really don't mean a thing. They're more or less just practice for you. But the point I'm trying to point out to you, think ahead. Think ahead what balls you want to play into what pockets. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to run the table if you're thinking ahead. 6 in the corner, 5 in the corner, coming right back for the 7 in the side. I already know that I want to play the 8 in the side. I'm going to play the 9 right over here where I played the 7. I'm not going to slam bang this ball into the pocket and hope I get position. I want to know where my balls are going. I want to know where that cue ball's going. And that way I'll stay out of trouble.
See how easy it is? So that's the basic aspect of strategy when you're playing 9-ball. Thanks, Jim. Let's rack them up and play another one.
You got it.
One game I forgot to mention is 8-ball. Everybody plays it. Everybody does it. When you go to a tavern and see a small table, most of the time they're playing 8-ball. Let me go through a few things to help you play a little bit better 8-ball. Make sure the rack is frozen tightly. The break is an important factor. One thing you have to remember, you take the cue ball, and the way the pros do it, instead of placing it right here, the pros, they take the cue ball and they place it on the side rail. And instead of hitting the head ball, which you don't have to hit, we hit the second ball. Now, why do we hit the second ball? We hit the second ball because the cue ball draws over to the side and comes back into the rack. It gives more reaction to the balls, and it gives more reaction, more important, to the 8-ball. Sometimes you make the 8-ball on the break. I remember I was playing Mike Siegel, a big 8-ball match in Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, Nevada. The score was 2-2. The guy who got to 3-1 was my break. I made the 8-ball on the break the way I'm going to show you now. Hit the side, hit the 7, draw it to the side rail. I didn't make a ball on the break, but all the balls scattered all over the table. Now it's my opponent's shot. He has to choose between the stripes or the solids. He surveys the table. There's not a ball touching. The only problem right here is the 2-ball. Every other ball is in good shooting range. You might say, well, if the 10 and the 12 are out of the way, I can make the 2 here. But they're not. I can make the 12 in this pocket. So you might say, what's the best to shoot? The best to shoot is the stripe balls. You have a tough shot in the beginning, but if you make this ball, there's a good chance you can run the game. Now, I have a problem. It's the 12, the 10, and the 2. Get rid of your problems in a hurry. I'm in direct position to get rid of my problem right now. I can make the 12, knock the 2 over, and shoot the 10 in the upper corner. Then I have no more problems. Perfect shot. 10 in the upper corner, and you're home free. There's one thing you have to remember. When you're in a run out, you better not foul up. Because if you foul up, the ball are going to be free for your opponent to easily run the rack off. So when you start running out, make sure you run completely out. And we shoot the 14 inside. We go off the bottom rail for position on the 13. Now the whole key on the next shot is positioning the cue ball in the right spot. I have to come off the side rail and stop the cue ball right about in this position. If I go a little bit too far, I'll still have the 9 in the corner. But my next shot I want to shoot basically is the 9 ball in this side pocket. Nine in the side, 15 in the corner, and I'm going to draw my cue ball into this position right about here so that I can shoot the 8 ball on this side. Now, one thing you must remember, in 8 ball, you have to call the last pocket. Because if I miss that pocket and the 8 ball goes into another pocket, you lose the game. So I'll call the 8 ball in the side pocket. What I've just gotten through showing you are some of the basic fundamentals of the game. I didn't want to show you too much because I didn't want to get you confused. But what you've seen here will improve your game. Take it from me, I know. What we're going to see in the next few minutes are some basic functions of 8 ball, 9 ball, and straight pool. You're going to see some draw shots, which may apply to all 3 games. Some angle shots, which do apply to all 3 games. Some rack shots, some safety play. All 3 games may come into play here. So stay tuned and keep watching.
Hi, I'm Pretty Boy Floyd. They call me the world's greatest pool hustler. And what I want to talk to you about a little bit today is cue ball control. Now let's start out by showing you a few little different demonstrations of what I mean by cue ball control. If you want to move your ball around the table to get from shot to shot, you have to have cue ball control. Now this here is a very simple basic draw shot. This here is your follow shot. Now let's talk about a shot with right-hand English. Watch my cue ball when it hits this rail. Watch how the right-hand English can take me way down the table if my next shot is down at the end of the table. I want to use some right-hand English. See how that ball spins down there? That's the right-hand English, taking me from ball to ball, different shot, different shots. The stop shot, hitting the cue ball right in the center. If this is my next shot, I don't want to draw my cue ball. I don't want to follow my cue ball. I want to stay right here. So I have a nice little simple shot on my next ball. So this is what we call the stop shot, hitting just a little bit below center, stopping the ball right in its tracks. Now, if this is my next ball, I want to play it down in this corner. Cue ball control. Let's not stop it here. It'd make a difficult shot. Let's follow it just a little bit so we can move it so the shot now becomes straight in. Cue ball control. Moving your cue ball around, shot to shot. Let's face it, Great pool players aren't great players because they're terrific shot makers. The whole idea is cue ball control. Learning to move this little white agate around this table to make every shot simpler and simpler. Let's say I'm shooting this ball into this pocket. And my next shot is over here. Well, I don't want to hit this shot with high English because look what happens. Look where my cue ball's going. Look at this. What kind of position did I have for this ball? Let's set that shot back up again. Now, how would I get positioned for this ball? Low, left-hand English. Cut the ball in and spin around. So I have a very easy shot for the 6 ball. Now let's talk a little bit about the power draw shot. Now what I mean by that is I want to try to hit this 5 ball in and power draw my cue ball all the way back here and all the way around the table and back there. I want to try to draw it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rails. Now how do you draw a ball 5 rails? People say that's impossible. I can draw the ball a foot. I can draw it 3 feet. I can't draw it 5 rails. Well, yes, you can draw it 5 rails, and I'm going to show you. Now, remember, basic fundamentals now. We've talked about basic fundamentals. Very important. Ultra important in the power draw shot. To follow through with your stroke, to keep your head down, keep your eye on the object ball, and snap that wrist. Don't be afraid to let your stroke out. A lot of times I see people, they don't draw the ball back far enough because they were really afraid to let that stroke out. There's times that you're going to find where you're going to have to draw that cue ball 3 or 4 rails to get position for your next shot. That's when the power draw comes into play. Now watch how I do this. Follow through with my stroke, hit it with maximum draw English. We're going to try to pocket the 5, and I'm going to show you that you can literally draw this ball 10, 12, 15 feet. All it takes is a little timing, a little practice. Let's see if we can draw this ball 5 rails. Now that's your maximum draw shot there. Now what we'd like to talk about is the jump shot. Now a lot of people get confused when you talk about jump shots. They say, well, I know how to jump the ball. You go just like this. No, you don't. That's a foul. You can't hit underneath that cue ball and lift it up into the air. It's a jump shot, but it's not a legal jump shot. I want to show you the legal jump shot. Now in a legal jump shot, you hit down on the cue ball like this. You don't scoop it from underneath. This is the jump shot. We're going to try to make the 1 ball. At the same time, put a little bit of draw English on my cue ball, because I don't want to make the 1 ball and have my cue ball just stay right there. Now, a lot of people consider me to be the best masse player in the world today. And I often have people come up to me and say, hey, Floyd, can you teach me how to masse a ball? And I say, sure, there's no problem. And then they say, can you teach me how to control it so I know exactly where it's going? Now, that's a different story. The Massey shot is by far the most difficult shot in the game of pool to control, to know precisely where it's going to go, when it's going to make its break, when it's going to twist, where it's going to turn. Hey, let's face it, it's without a doubt the most colorful shot in pool, but to master the Massey shot, I can only tell you this: it takes many, many years to perfect this type of shot. It's like a golfer when he hits his ball into the sand. He knows how to hit that ball out of the sand because he's been doing it for so many years. He has that personal little touch. And it's the same with the Massey shot. I've been shooting this shot for 25 years. So I have a feel for this cue ball. I know exactly how far it's going to go out before it makes its break. I know exactly where it's going to go. But it's taken me many, many years to perfect this shot. All I can tell you is you have to practice this shot a little bit, not too much. It's very punishing on your cue stick as well as the table. But like I say, it's a difficult shot. I think it's the most colorful shot in pool. I've spent a lot of time on the Massey shot, and that's the reason I'm the master of the Massey. I'll give you a little example. We're going to pocket the 5 ball in the side pocket. Now, in this particular shot, as I'm looking down at my cue ball, I'm going to be hitting this at 7 o'clock. I'm going to spin right out of here. I'm going to come right over here, pocket the 5 in the side. Let's see that again from another angle in slow motion. Now there's your basic Massey shot.
Thank you, folks, for watching. Hope to see you in the future. Make sure sometime down the road, if I see you, come up and say hello. Thanks very much.